morning, everybody. We are here in the Camera Club, as you can see, and we've got some Zoomers online, and we are going to have a little show today, so we'll see what's going on. Normally, I don't start the show, but I am going to start the show today with one of my videos. Tom just saw this yesterday for the first time, although I don't know how well he saw it. Could you see it okay over there? Yeah. Okay, good. This was the fundraiser video that we did for Equine Voices this year, and they just showed it yesterday. I have some technical things that I will explain after you see it, some challenges and goodies that I had shooting this video. So anyway, this is a story of a guy named Gary who lives over by Benson, and he adopted one of the horses this summer. So anyway, this is the story of Gary and Ted.
I first heard about Equine Voices. That was the fall of last year. It was a news story, one of the Tucson stations. They were talking about this horse that had been horribly mistreated and was found at an area called Dog Patch.
Disturbing and heartbreaking discovery in an area known for illegal dumping. 2 malnourished horses abandoned in the desert and left for dead.
I had no clue what or where Dog Patch was, and I was really bothered that someone could do that to a horse. So it mentioned Equine Voices in the article, so I thought, you know, I'm going to contact them and ask, where is this place?
So at the beginning of March, we received a call from Detective Noon with the Pima County Sheriff's Department about a horse that was in severe starvation condition, and he wondered if we had room to take him because he had given the owner a warning that she either needed to get him fattened up or he needed to be taken from her. So she decided to release him to us, and Tom Sutler went and picked him up, and the conditions he was living in were pretty horrific. He was very much underweight, probably a couple 100 pounds underweight. The fencing was dilapidated, he was standing in manure, just really bad conditions. So Thomas loaded him in the trailer and brought him to the ranch.
We have our horse, Big Amos, here, and his stablemate was the Domino Kid. And poor Domino went down end of November, beginning of December. Couldn't get up. The vet came out, checked him out, and we had to have him put to sleep. And he's buried out behind us here, along with other horses over the years. When horses come here, they spend the rest of their life here. And anyway, I started looking around at other horses, and I got to thinking about rescue horses. And I thought, you know, I'm going to check in to see what's out there. And then that's when I went back to the Equine Voices site. And that was within, I think it was only a week or two after Ted had been there. It hadn't been too long. I just want to come out and see this horse, Ted. So we set up a time and I came out to check him out. Yeah, you're a good boy. And anyway, I felt so sorry for Ted. When I saw Ted, it was the same kind of a situation again. Here's another horse that's been starved out. And I went up to Ted and I just kind of had a feeling for him, started talking to him. I talk to animals, of course, but I said to him, I'm going to come in with you. And I came in and I proceeded to touch him everywhere on his body. He didn't object. I thought, okay, this guy's pretty good. Karen was able to hook me up with a halter and a rope to use. And I proceeded to take him out and just walk him. And I'll tell you, the facility is so beautiful down there. As I've told people, if I was a horse that needed to be somewhere, that's where I would want to end up. I would come down every week, take Ted out for a nice long walk, and I knew from the beginning this was the horse I wanted to adopt. I was very happy to go see Ted. One of our initial things, Karen had brought out a couple of carrots in the beginning. So then I'd stop off at the grocery store and bring carrots out there with me. And that's when we discovered that Ted knew kind of a trick. Took the lunch pail and he'd watch me take the carrots out of it, feed him, and of course close it. And then on one of my time deals with him, I left the lunch pail in his pen by the area where he eats. Then I turned my back and walked over to where he normally drinks, Then I kind of look around behind me to see if he's going to follow me or what is he going to do. He's like, okay, I'm far enough away from him, and Ted looks down and I watch he flip that open, the lid goes open, he's there to help himself to a carrot. It's like, okay, Ted's a pretty smart guy. I guess I'd have to say the day that it was time to finally get Ted home was pretty exciting that day. We drove over to meet up the wife's friends over at Corona de Tucson. And so we went over there and then parked and then got in their vehicle and off we went. It was just kind of a happy moment. And then with getting Ted loaded up and bringing him home, it was like, okay, after a couple months here, we're gonna bring him home. I say when we got here and Amos was so excited and Ted was excited. It's been good. Amos was happy to finally have a stablemate. He was so lonely. And then Ted was like, wow, where am I? And they hit it off really well and they just have bonded together. Well, I'll tell you, when it came time for adjusting, Amos kind of let him know like, hey, this is my area, you know, to show kind of like he's the senior guy here. And Ted was kind of like, hey, that's fine. You know, whatever you want to do is okay with me. And then after that settled in, then since then, they've kind of been like a couple of little kid brothers where they kind of, you know, they'll kind of antagonize each other just a little bit in a playful way. Oh, after Ted's been here a while, I'd say he adjusted pretty quick, actually. And he's just one of the family. As you can see, he's very loving. Thank you for the kisses. Yes, I love you too.
Nice story.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very good.
Wow.
I like that you did a lot of it in black and white.
Well, there's a reason for that. I didn't like the color. The backstory to this is they said, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to interview Gary at his ranch. Well, I have visions of the Ponderosa. You know, we're going to have the big the house, the bunkhouse. There's going to be trees. There's all kinds of stuff. Well, we get out there, and of course, there's none of that. Gary lives in a trailer, and he's got this open corral area. There's not a tree in sight. There's some cars that are on. The wheels are off, you know, by the trailer, and I'm like, okay, how the hell am I going to shoot this? I don't. It was windy. It was, you know, bright sun, and so I can't have him looking in the sun. I don't want to backlight him, you know, shooting him out in the middle of the corral. So they had a little, and I was going to bring it. I forgot to bring it. There's a picture of our setup. He has a cinder block barn, for want of a better thing, where the horses can go if it gets rainy or stormy or whatever. So I'm like, okay, this is the spot. Well, as I'm shooting it, it's horribly backlit and I don't like the way it looks. And when I get back, I see the color and I'm like, if I show you that again real quick, that last bit, because I just did the last bit in color.
Yeah. Right there.
And I balanced it color wise and I did the best I could with it. And I just didn't like the look. So I was like, okay, let's make this black and white in the very last scene. Let's make it color. So anyway, that was a big part of the challenge, you know, coming somewhere and you don't have the vision in your mind of what's going to be wonderful. And then it's not wonderful. What do I do?
Yeah, but see, good luck and karma compensate for you because you get to interview people who are articulate, who sound good on film, don't stutter, you know. His was perfect.
Well, you saw the little quick cuts that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason for those quick cuts, or there's a reason for B-roll too. And so.
But you didn't have any B-roll for him. You just had jump cuts.
Yeah. Well, there was a little bit of video action.
It wasn't in play.
No.
It was just, it's so smooth.
Yeah. Well, the story's compelling. And I think that's what really.
Well, he's really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this went over really nicely yesterday. So that
even though he lives in a trailer and.
Well, that's okay. I don't have anything against the trailer. I was expecting the Ponderosa. Yes.
Hi, you know what I absolutely love were the hands and the arms.
Yeah,
I don't know if you did that intentionally, but it gave something, really special to it.
Well, and see, that's another one of those where it's like, okay, he's got to be, I can't have him inside because the little barn area was very small. And so literally it's a walkway. And so he could put a hand on either side. And so you're framing up the camera and it's like, oh, I don't want to shoot these cinder block walls. But then at some point I just.
Well, he had the horse in the picture.
Well, that
All along was just
well,
perfect.
and I didn't expect that.
That was great.
Because when we started, the horse was not, Ted was not there in the shot. And then all at once he came in to see what was going on. And then for most of the shoot, he was there.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, Carol.
I had one question. You did a lot of vignetting
Oh,
on
yeah.
top, which is great. I mean, it looked good, but do you have to go through frame by frame or can you do and there was different vignetting on the
Yep.
top on different frames. So
Yeah, you're basically, when you're editing in any advanced editing program, meaning DaVinci or Final Cut, Premiere, you're doing layers. If I would show you a setup in like iMovie, you can only do one layer. Can we do two layers? We can do two layers. We can do focal and we can do a B-roll. Well, you can't do more than two layers of content. So in this, I can do multiple layers and I've got a general mask that goes around the edging.
Right.
And then I come in on the top for some of those shots where it's really bright. And I add that I call it a 45-degree gradation.
it kept your eyes in balance. It
Yeah.
was very well
Yeah.
done. I didn't find it distracting. I just wondered how you did it.
Yeah. Well, and that's something and I've sent that out before to people, that mask, and I can send it out again at some point. And it's a nice way to just focus. It's so subtle. If you look at some of those, if I go back real quick, where it's not just the big heavy top.
right at the introduction there, we kisses. the horse.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah,
See, that's a top.
Right.
There's a gradation on top.
Yep.
There's a gradation on top. That shot there's a mask around the outside, so it's subtle. So you don't really see it. It's on all the edges going all the way around.
Right,
And so it's just a very subtle thing. So,
Okay, right there, see, okay, but he's got a white shirt and you got white sand and you got a white sky.
yeah, you're right. And you're lighting somebody in shade, so it's just blowing out the
So
outside.
if I was gonna do something like that, I'd tell the guy, wear a colorful shirt or,
And I think the thing is, if I had known what I was getting into, I would have, meaning by that you have an idea, oh, okay, I know this setup, I know how I want to shoot this, I know if I'm going to do some lighting, what I'm going to do. And at some point, you kind of go, okay,
Yeah.
you make the best of it, however you.
yeah, but yeah.
Ashley does not walk out the front door 12 Oaks.
That's right.
Did you do some lighting on that?
I did not. I was going to, and then I was concerned about, there was another way for the horses to come in the other way, the other for Amos. And at the time I thought Ted, and I thought, okay, I can't have lighting in here. And now the horse comes in, crash, there goes the lights. And
Yeah.
so anyway,
And that contrasting that 300 footage with our camera
Right.
makes this camera look even worse. And that wasn't the best the 300 can do.
right. So anyway, so that,
Nice job.
no, thanks. That worked
Yeah,
out well. And,
And great guidance. Super.
yeah, well, thanks. Like I said,
Good subject, that helps.
well, and so next year is the 20th anniversary. We haven't talked yet about what we're gonna do. But we gotta make it something really special, so I don't know yet.
Were you run over by a horse as a child or something? This was so fascinated with horses.
It's just, I think it's a thing of, well, if there's Todd does a lot of charity stuff. You help out with the Wednesday
Yeah, well,
and Friends Indeed. And I think if there's a charity that's close to your heart, they always will be grateful to have somebody come in and shoot still photography or video, put some materials together for them.
Yeah.
They're always happy about that. So it's
true.
I think it's just a thing I
Well, I know nothing about horses. The closest I ever was to horse was after I retired, came down here.
No horses in Detroit?
No, I met Karen one day.
Yeah.
And she told me about her place.
Yeah.
And that's the first time, but I have a granddaughter-in-law who's a veterinarian. So I had to ask her, I said, are they just big dogs?
Yeah.
You know, and she said, well, you know, what do you think? I work with dogs.
The Gene, you have no idea.
Well,
Dogs.
yeah, you know,
That wouldn't have crossed my mind.
can you call them over? They would say, you know, she said, no,
It's not gonna happen.
not gonna happen.
Okay, does anybody have anything else before we proceed on the next video?
Oh, good job.
Well, thanks.
Good job.
They always show these tugging at the heartstrings things just before the auction,
Yeah,
which is good. 'Cause I mean,
Yeah.
it loosens up the wallets quite a bit.
hopefully, and it did. I think they had a good day yesterday, so. All right, Todd, you've got a couple videos for us. Why don't you tell us about?
Okay, so what this is a few weeks ago, I was at Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park. I showed my first cut of the video last week, and there were some suggestions, so I went back and fixed a few things on it. But one of the things that was a question was, I have 3 video clips in this. It's only 3 minutes long. I have 3 video clips in it, and the first video clip, even though I stabilized it, was still pretty jerky and everything. So Kevin suggested a couple things. He suggested, well, why don't you try to do the slow-mo like you guys showed me when I did the underwater shoot, the scuba shoot. So I did that. So I have the same video twice. One, this video clip is at 50% of actual speed. Yep.
Okay,
And then the other suggestion was just do away with the video clip altogether and just put photos in and everything. So I'm curious to see which ones you guys, does this look okay, or, does the other one go better?
all right, so we're gonna start with the slow-mo.
Right.
Okay. What do we think of that? And then we're gonna show the other version stills.
I think it's beautiful.
Yep. I like the vignette effect on some of those. Why not all of them?
They all are.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, some are a little more than others.
Yes.
They all are what, I'm sorry.
Vignette.
Vignette.
Do you change the opacity of that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So,
That explains it then.
I liked it, but, nice to have two versions, but you're such a good narrator, why not narrate that?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think this one needed narration. I think it's just the mood.
Let's look at the other one with
It's
just
all
the
about
photos.
images.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very good.
what do we think?
You want us to take a choice?
Yeah.
What you're asking?
Yeah.
Number,
You like the video with slow-mo?
I like it, swing over there.
I'd say number one is.
Number two.
Number two.
I'd say number two also.
That was Kevin's suggestion to use stills. I like that a lot.
What you did with the motion was you broke the mood.
Meaning the GoPro.
You just broke the whole thing.
Yeah.
By going, where was your
Well, he was
gimbal?
I was just using my DSLR. I
Yeah,
didn't have
but
the
you
gimbal
didn't
with
have
me.
the gimbal.
No.
But that would have slowed, the GoPro would have maybe helped somewhat.
Maybe.
On the
I
gimbal.
have a question.
Yeah, Grace, go ahead.
Where the heck is that? You don't identify it. Is it Northern California? Where is that?
Where is Sequoia National Park?
Oh, she's saying basically, if you had a map or something to show her thing.
Yeah, it's just south of Yosemite.
Well, I think Grace knows it. I think she's talking about for the viewers, right, Grace?
What?
Are you talking about just for, like the viewers who maybe don't know where Sequoia is?
I didn't know where it was.
Oh,
So,
you didn't know where it was.
no,
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I expected it, yeah, really, yeah, I expected it to be somewhere in California with with the sequoias and stuff, but no. Anyway, that was just.
You know, this brings us to an interesting point, and I'm sorry I'm the only reject in here, number one, but that's okay.
No, it's not.
Get out of here. You know, maybe Grace's question brings up a point though. Maybe somewhere down the road, we ought to kind of define, is the video a travelogue? Is
Yeah,
it?
that's a good point.
You know,
Yeah.
what really
Sure.
is it? And then criteria like a map or it would fit into it if the video itself was in a particular category.
Sure.
Travelogue.
This wasn't a trip film
No,
or a travelogue.
no.
This was a beauty film.
This is a mood
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, you know, Grace, you have a really good point, though. I mean, it's got to differentiate. Who's your audience? What who you trying to show it to?
Yeah, but I
If-
guess. Oh, go ahead, Grace.
California or CA after national park.
Oh, well, there you go. You could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I really liked the video, but there were a couple places where if you had held the motion, it would have enhanced it, I think. For example, I wanted to read that sign on the cabin,
Yeah.
but you just weren't
I
there
thought
long
about that,
enough to do it.
leaving that up a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a few of the other stills that were great stills, like that Stellar's J, just a little longer would have been nice.
A little longer on the chipmunk. Yeah.
Yeah,
More on the chipmunk.
but it was a good video. It was beautiful. The music
the
went
only-
well with it.
It was really shaky car footage, though.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you could
Oh.
you could buy a suction cup and put it on your hood, and put a GoPro on there, and you'll get. Because I love the fog.
How far was your lens from your windshield?
I tried to get it as close to the windshield as
And then some
possible to
reflection.
stop the reflection, but I couldn't stop it altogether. And then it was also with the clouds, and with the windshield itself kept
Oh, yeah.
Right.
getting covered with mist.
Sure.
Everything else was so good, it doesn't matter.
You know,
Oh, and the trees, those giant trees, it would have been nice if you had done like a vertical movie, really slow to emphasize just how giant they are.
Yeah, I actually do have some video clips of that, but I didn't include it in this video.
You
Oh.
did 3 frames here, and 2 of them worked, but the third frame made no sense.
So
Oh, yes,
on
I agree.
on
See what I'm saying?
on the General Sherman one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what I was trying, because it was cloudy and we couldn't see the top of the tree, but when we got further away from it, going up, so the parking lot's up here, the General Sherman's down here. So when you're coming in, have you been there?
there you go, Todd.
And everything. And so that's just the top of the General Sherman.
But see, this shows the 2 frames, the left one and the middle, are telling the story. The one on the right is like,
What is that?
some branches. What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, I get it.
You know, I love that second version. I ditch all the video. Meaning I would ditch the going through the tree.
tunnel?
I would get rid of the mist.
Mhm.
And I would obviously with the still photos going through the tree were great.
Mhm.
Just get rid of all that completely. I would agree with Phil that because of the bounciness, it just there's that, a little bit of, kind of going around and like the shot inside with the fog, you've got the reflection of the car, and it's like you're creating this beautiful mood,
Yeah, you
this tranquility.
You destroyed the movie.
I've been told that before.
We don't
I
like it.
But
Oh, my God.
but maybe that's a thought too.
Yeah.
Is just
Just make that. And I have stills of those shots also.
oh, if you do, that would be great. And maybe just incorporate that.
Yeah.
Because it just you got me in this great mood. It's like, oh my God, I'm relaxed. If I was stressed, that would be like watching a waterfall or something.
I turned the volume up, each one of my dummies. Shows.
There you go again.
And then the way you work the transitions and you obviously change those up based on the comments from last week and everything. And that really enhanced the mood.
Yeah.
When did you do this? Produce it?
Last week. Last week.
Last week?
Yeah. Over the weekend.
Well, if you let it sit, you'll come up with different ideas and
Yeah, but I also think and we've had this discussion before about you want to put a project to bed. It's like, okay, I've looked at this for hours and hours and done. Now I'm on to the next project.
Well, I'm already working on my next one.
I get to a point where I just don't want to do that.
but that's why if you let it sit for a month, you come back and
Well, that would be a good point too. That you may come back with a fresh idea.
like your idea,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
Thank you for all the input.
Yeah. But I didn't notice where the cow was any slower on the slower version.
What's that?
I didn't notice where the cow was chewing his cud any slower.
Oh, no. The only thing I did slow-mo was the walk through the tree.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Grace.
Good job.
Yeah, there was one picture of a really gnarly tree that I would have liked to have seen you that dark tree so you could see how gnarly it really was.
Manzanita, you mean?
Uh,
Yeah, I think that was it.
Was that? Hang on. Let me see if I can go back through the video real quick here, and I'll skim.
you weren't on it very long.
That's the way manzanitas look, I tell you.
Yeah.
That shot, Grace, or no?
No, it was more of a
Hang on.
underneath.
Oh, that one right there. Is that the one you're talking?
Oh, that?
Yeah.
How long does he have it on? Let's see. I'm going to play it real quick. Hang on.
Is that the roots?
Yes.
Ah, not obvious.
Like
He had that on over 6
Later.
seconds. That was
It
6
wasn't-
seconds.
Yeah, little
it wasn't
zoom.
the time. It was the brighten. The
Oh, the
dark.
brightness.
Yeah. Up
Hang on, let me
to-
go back to it.
Make it lighter so you could actually see it. The time was okay.
Just kick up a little bit of the density in there. Inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah, the elderberries too.
Yeah.
Well, they looked white. Elderberries are never white.
Well, I guess.
So
They are
either those
not.
aren't elderberries or the lighting was really bad.
I mean, I'm looking.
That's kind
at
of the
it.
color they were. They were almost like gray.
Oh, were they?
Well, they're probably doll size then.
I'll probably make wine out of them anyway.
And a gummy.
Yeah.
Your color balance is good because the clouds are white, so I don't think it's a color balance issue.
They're great.
So
A misidentified berry, perhaps?
Like
no, well,
meat.
don't know.
I would say
Okay.
probably doll size are another kind of berry. They look more like that, but they sure don't look like elderberries.
Well, that's what it showed there at the park. Labeled them.
Really?
Yes. They had a brochure we had with
Maybe
us.
different out west.
Well, that's very possible.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
thought the one thing I learned about this, because when I was there at the park and everything, I had to wonder how General Sherman got to be the largest tree instead of General Grant, the president and everything. Well, General Sherman was put in charge of the Western armies after the Civil War, so
Ah.
He got the love.
yes.
There you go. Well done, though. I mean,
Good job. Good job.
really
Really good.
Yeah, it was nice.
And I think anytime we talk about stuff, we all have our ideas about what we would do if it was our video. Ultimately, it's Todd's video.
Yep.
And he incorporated some of the things that we talked about last week, which was great. So, you just go from
I
there.
always listen to you guys, and I go home and do whatever I want.
That's probably the smartest thing, Jim.
But sometimes it's good to listen too. You learn.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
I do anyway.
Now, does anybody have anything else on Todd's video they'd like to throw in?
That was good.
No, thanks for all the input. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Great job.
Holly, are you going to show us something from your final cut? Not the video, but something you were going to show, or were you going to show me that?
Well, no, I was going to show, I don't know if people want to know, I was going to show kind of what I've been learning.
Okay.
Okay. So we can just like share my desktop, right?
Yeah, go ahead and share your desktop.
All right. Okay. So one thing I picked up lately is this project folder thing.
Yep.
Which I had not used before. So this is like it's like a template for the project folder I finally decided to use for this project. So in this project, I've got stuff in here, including some video that I'm going to use on a movie and some stills, which I also, for the first time, looked at Creative Commons for some stills, which was fine. And for audio, I talked with Kevin about this. Come on, open up. This is the beginning of the audio for my intro for this video. And I did this on my iPhone in notes. I dictated it.
Yeah.
And then I edited it, and then I printed it out, and then I stuck it in this folder, which I will read it into my movie at some point. But to me, it's one of the easiest ways to do your voiceover ahead of time, so you can edit it and get it just the way you want. And then I really like using that notes program and the microphone, and you just dictate in. So I thought that was kind of cool. For deliverables, I have a new website, so I thought I'd include that in what I'm going to do. I don't know really what deliverables means, but I put it there because I didn't know what else to do with it. And the same thing for this is a website that I wanted to include on why competition in the politics industry is failing America, but I didn't want to get into the politics. So I just stuck that there, and it's going to show up as a still shot. And then in Final Cut Pro, I've started my movie. Whoa, I got to get rid of this thing. And this will be all intro with with music down at the bottom, which I hadn't known how to do yet. And that'll have the voiceover. And then when we get to this part, which is the actual video I took, this man who came in, I was a total surprise, so I hadn't expected to video anybody that day, but he was a political campaigner. And because of my prospective audience, I don't want to include the politics on this part either. So I did find out you can change the narration just like in iMovie and cut out parts. And then, of course, later I'll add. Is here to show us what beautiful music can be made by our river, the St. Regis. And it's October 14th, 2023. And this is
Richard Hayes Phillips.
Richard Hayes Phillips. So I'll do some voiceover there.
And I seem to have found a kindred spirit in this building. And she has heard me play this, a kalimba, before when I was at Camp Solitude on Lake Placid. I spent years restoring 17 miles of hiking trails there. And Jay would feed me and house me at night. And if he had dinner guests, I would entertain them. And that's funny to hear today. Well, the first time I ever So on Kalimba, it was this guy at Camp Solitude, and of course that turned out to be me. So
That had to be about in 1998, maybe.
okay, because Jay took me in '97, I think it was, and I didn't write Cougar in the Wild until the winter of '98, but I was probably
Oh, I don't know how to do ducking yet, but it must be you can.
You were just doing it at the beginning of that clip.
At the beginning, yeah, but I don't know what happened here.
Oh, are you wanting to do it there?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I want to just hear him. I don't want to hear this music.
Well, you can, well,
Split the coat and leave the sound.
you can do that, or you can go in your sound area and you can put a marker in, and then you can go a few frames away, and then not that. I'm talking to the far right. Holly's doing this on a 15-inch laptop,
Yeah.
and she can't see the whole screen with Zoom going on.
Gotcha.
And so I've suggested a nice 27-inch monitor for her. It'll make her life a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, I use my 32-inch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
HDMI port,
Yeah.
and everything's nice.
Yep. Well, not to.
At any rate, so that's how it's going. And in 2 weeks, I hope to show you like a completed video. But I've been able to incorporate a lot of the input I've gotten so far from people. And for the first time, I'm going to use Creative Commons for an image because of the song he plays. Basically, the rest of this is he's playing his song, which he composed, and it's about cougar in the wild in the Adirondacks. And so I want to superimpose some cougar photos, which I found on Creative Commons. But I'm not quite sure how to attribute them to Creative Commons. I think I get it. I can just copy and paste what they say there when I do the credits. Is that correct?
I would assume so.
It depends on
Yeah.
what
All right.
their restrictions are.
Right.
Some of them have.
Some of them have none. And crazy.
Yeah, well, they
not a
say
place, it's a-
free,
it's
but
a
they want you to do an attribute.
Yeah, you can do that all at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
When nobody watches it, that's perfect.
Where are you gonna,
I think that's what you're saying, Gene. This is not good to do, huh?
hey, where are you
So I
gonna
had
show
worried-
it, Holly?
Pardon?
Where are you gonna show it?
Probably Travelog. It's about the Adirondacks and this Adirondack bard. So although it's
I wouldn't worry about it.
I wouldn't worry about anything.
No, just.
no,
Just do it.
okay,
And,
Oh, yeah,
and Creative Commons is not a place. It's
No.
an actual legal entity.
right, yeah, I know
So-
that.
Yeah, and so they vary. Some of them say non-commercial only. Some say you can use it for anything. Some say you have to have credit. It just depends on the author of the material.
Okay,
Yeah, Grace, go ahead.
I have a comment. There were some of the pictures that you have in there that have a white bar at the bottom, some also at the top. Is there any way you can increase the size of those pictures to get rid of that white bar? Because it's kind of noticeable because most of your photos fill the screen.
yeah, there probably is. Again, I'm new to Final Cut Pro, so Kevin, probably you can answer that question more than I can.
I'd have to see it again, what Grace is
Yeah.
talking about. Can you share your screen again for us?
Oh,
You
all
just
right.
pasted this.
Oh, yeah, it's easy.
Well, I didn't see, normally it'd be a black
Right.
space, like letterbox.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Getting rid of.
The white
I'm not sure what white is.
Wait a minute here.
All right.
I've got to find it. I guess I closed
There it
it.
is. Yep.
You see it?
No, I see. There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so.
So it's
scroll
probably
to
at the
where we
beginning,
got some
right?
photos. Yeah.
And oh, let me get rid of that. I think I can make this full screen somehow.
Well, you're fine. Don't make it full screen because then you're not gonna show us. Well, I don't
Right.
see right now you haven't done anything to that photo. And you haven't done any movement or cropping on the photos yet, so.
Right, and I haven't put the transitions in yet.
Yeah, yeah. Grace, what do you see what Holly you were talking about?
I think they're coming.
Okay. Was it a Zoom thing, Grace?
There we go. There
There's a
you
white bar in
go.
the bottom there.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, there it is.
yeah, you just have to crop it.
Yeah, you can zoom a little bit.
You just have to crop it.
Okay,
You want
So, start with it. You can.
yeah, that was a screenshot, so I should be able to just crop that.
Yep, you can do that with your Ken Burns effect and just make sure you start it or stop it where you're cropping that out.
Yeah,
So that'll be fine.
okay.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. The one thing that Holly's doing, which I like, and I've talked about this before, is she's putting different content in different folders. So she's got her video in a folder. She's got her stills in a folder. She's got her music, all those things.
My question was this, I'm a pro, do that automatically?
No, you do that.
Because I've done it all the time, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm mystified by
Why?
what else would you do?
Well, you might have everything all in one big
Oh, just
folder.
one big.
And to me, it's
I see.
it's-
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
of course.
yeah, you're trying, especially when you're trying to import stuff. Maybe you've added a photo or something, and you've got 40 files, and now you're trying to figure out where the hell is that folder. Well, if I go to the photo folder, there only might be 4 photos. So, okay, it's that folder.
I take it, I even break it down further. So I have, a video file, a photo file, but then in the video file, I'll break it down to like if I'm in a certain town or I'm in a certain
sure.
place and everything to make it easier just to go back to find it when I'm researching. In fact, that's the video I'm working on right now.
What you're saying, this is a revelation to you.
Yes.
What I'm saying, no, I knew you were supposed to do it, but I never did.
I've been there.
I never did it before.
Just
I always sort of just made the movie and then forgot about all the pieces. And I did it with books too, much to my chagrin. So all the things I put in certain books are then dispersed to where they came from, which is not good.
You made one really, really good point. You use notes in there to get some textual material. On the Android phones, you can use Recorder. It does the same thing.
Okay.
And it types the notes the same exact way.
Sure.
But that's a handy tool where you can do little side notes and just store them. And then
well, on the iPhone, there's a thing called voice memo.
Yeah.
And I haven't yet figured out how you or researched how you get it to print. I do have it doesn't have anything to do with this movie. I'm doing some other stuff. But how do I get a voice memo to print?
Yeah, it has a transcript.
Translate into.
Yeah, it's a transcribed thing. But I don't know, how. Anybody know on a Mac?
Grace is right there.
Kevin?
I don't.
You don't know, Grace?
I don't know how.
Oh my God, we played Stump Grace and we stumped her on the iPhone. This is amazing. I just all I have to do is a little research on it. It's not something that I do, but when in doubt, Google the question and here you go. I'm serious.
I know the repository of all information.
When you're stumped, if you're doing any, especially video editing, whether it's iMovie, it's Premiere, whatever it is, type that question into YouTube or Google, and somebody's going to have a video that answers that question for you. So it makes a big, big difference.
Well, you're getting a thumbs up, so it must be good.
Well, something.
What is that?
I think it's Grace.
It's Grace.
Grace is doing something.
Looking at a recording.
Or we're getting or we're getting hacked, one of the two. The communists, they're getting us. It's the Green Valley Club, and they're getting us.
It's better than your.
Okay, does anybody have anything else that they would like to add for today? I've got a little video that I'm going to show after I end the meeting that will not be recorded. It's a funny little bit that you might enjoy.
I got a quick aside for you.
Yes.
She was showing Premiere Pro, and we were discussing with some other people, editors, because there were so many of them available now. And all of them, like word processors, have the same basic components. This summer, the local library came to me and they said somebody donated 6 Mac computers, old ones, and we want to set them up for photo and video editing and what have you. And so I looked at them, and they were so damn old they wouldn't even take iMovie. The big.
Oh yeah.
And so I contacted a friend of mine. He said, "Well, there's a Linux thing called Producer.
Okay.
It'll run on an old Mac, and it's got just video editing, photo editing, whatever." So I installed it on a couple of them. It took me a while because you have to boot from a flash drive.
Okay.
But damn, it worked really nice.
Oh, nice.
And there's an editor in there. I assume it was just a Linux editor called Caden Live. And when I ran it, it looked just like Premiere Pro.
Huh.
Everything was kind of like, I could find everything. So I looked, and now it's available in Windows and Mac versions.
Oh, okay.
But it does look, if you use Premiere Pro, you can just go right to that board. It's amazing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Well, I think like anything, if you're not doing video editing yet and you want to try to do it, it always helps to find somebody in our club that is in that same program, and it makes a big difference. So to answer questions. Yes, Todd is the Da Vinci guru now since David.
By default.
By default.
Todd helped me last week.
Okay, does anybody have anything else? We will meet again, I think, in 2 weeks. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great week. We'll look forward to seeing more videos. I'm going to end the meeting now. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.